zeitgeisty time for a film like this to get released. So, really quick, just in terms of catching everybody up with where you're at, are we officially released, or is this?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the film is now available in North America on all your favorite streaming platforms: Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Fandango, like anywhere you can buy movies in North America. And there's going to be some additional theatrical releases in Canada, and then Europe, I think, is in September. Possibly. Yeah. So.
I was funny because we'll get to some of the actual filmmaking aspects of Bury the Devil, but for whatever reason, there's a point where I got a flashback to Hitchcock's Rope. You might understand why I did. For those of you who've seen Hitchcock's Rope, there are some similarities in terms of the narrative structure, the way the camera and the story work together. And I just imagine myself saying Jimmy Stewart would never survive this movie. But there are some themes that I really want to get from a writer's perspective. Let's take something like Godzilla -1. There are obviously some human emotional themes that are, that run through that film. But when the writers get together to write Godzilla -1, clearly they say there's got to be a radioactive monster in this movie. When you started conceptualizing this, was human emotional content first in your head, or was it the genre, we have to have that demon, and then we'll figure out the human stuff?
I think it was really the human stuff first, because we actually did several drafts of a script with a completely different concept. Basically, all we knew is that we're going to do a movie as though it's one shot, and we have this house that it was shot in, and that's where we're doing it. And we came up with this script that we're totally going to use again at some point because I love the concept. But we're like, the house itself was a puzzle, and like imagine the cube from Hellraiser, but that was the house. And so, like, as you open certain doors or things moved in the house, it, would trigger supernatural events, blah, blah, blah. Obviously something way too ambitious for a low-budget horror movie.
But you guys knew it was going to be, well, for all intents and purposes, a oneer.
Yeah.
You wrote it as a oneer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everybody knows what a oneer is, correct? We're all, could you just briefly just...
Yeah, so from the get-go, the conceit was that it would play as though it was all one uninterrupted shot. Obviously, that's not how it was actually filmed, but it plays that way.
Second viewing, I started asking myself, "Oh, is that a scene? Is that do you want to give us some insight as to where you hid some of the cuts?"
Well, not me, Adam O'Brien, the director. They were long takes. We had to write it as more of a blueprint than a regular script. So this is my first feature, and to write it as a single shot was the most difficult thing I think I've ever done for any of the writing I've ever done. Adam sent us photos and videos just walking from room to room a few months beforehand, and as we were writing it to the locations, it was literally a blueprint. We were numbering the rooms, like with letters and numbers, so we know where each scene took place, the transitions. Tried to space it out based on how much time it would take to walk from one room to the next. And then a couple of times he would take a draft and with a couple of actors walk through the house to try to figure out camera angles, and you would shoot it, and then we would rewrite based on that, what looked good, what didn't, what new ideas he came up with, and we would incorporate that into the next draft. So we did that twice before going to the actual shoot.
So you had an arrangement with the location very early in the process then?
Yeah, we did. That was
rehearsed like it's a
extremely
stage
lucky.
play.
Yeah, that was the only way we could do it with being a low budget film.
So it's a horror noises off kind of thing. Was the funding, I mean, I don't know how much you guys were associated with, funding the film and finding the investment, but...
Not at all.
Oh, not like zero. So it wasn't like...
We just cashed our checks.
Like, funding means my check didn't bounce. So this really was a writer-director collaboration from day one.
Yeah, Adam is he's very collaborative. Like, we worked together for a few months leading up to it. And as Brad mentioned, we had a whole different version up until a few months before the shoot, and then we had to rework it to take out what couldn't be budgeted in because it was too expensive and would take too long, like for a shooting schedule.
What are the kind of things that make something like this too expensive?
Walls moving?
Yeah, walls moving. Well, we also had, other demons originally. So there was a host of demons, and they were in the house, and you would see them.
Oh.
And that obviously got too expensive.
As a VFX guy, I can vouch.
Yeah.
That's going to drive up your budget.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of stuff like the final draft, right up into shooting. We had a lot of things in the script that, by necessity, had to get cut because, like you said, VFX. Like, if you're doing this as a one shot, you can't rip a guy's arm off unless you have Marvel money.
Right.
You know.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have to, like in that scene, you have to hear it and then stumble upon the aftermath.
And what you don't see sometimes is more powerful. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows the story of Steven Spielberg's famous broken shark. And that might have saved the movie.
Yeah.
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 Is it true I heard 6 days? This whole movie, 6 days.
Yeah, it was a 6-day shoot. There was a week before of prep and 2 days of full rehearsal. So yeah, 6 days. Budget was probably around $500,000. So all that, and
I have a funny feeling people are going to start talking about this the way like everybody's been talking about Curry Barker and the Obsession budget, and I think that was you guys came in under Obsession's budget.
oh yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
750, I think was
I think it was
Obsession.
theirs, yeah.
So you boy.
It was, 6 days though to do, so that's why it was a long takes. And the interesting part too is Adam discovered a way in post-production, Adam O'Brien, the director, how to blend certain takes together. That wasn't the plan initially, but he found certain performances in different takes. Like this actor was better in this take than this one, and he found places to blend them together that so far people haven't noticed.
Yeah, they're not cuts.
They're not
It's
cuts.
like
it's like
blended.
It's blending take A and take B at a
Exactly.
point where you can not notice.
He said
a
because
hitch.
he's mentioned how people have said, oh, you go through a doorway, and sometimes he says you go through a doorway and it's actually not a cut, it's just walking through a doorway, but there are cuts where there's like, right on somebody and you don't even notice
With
it.
an actor not leaving frame, and you really
Right.
cut from
Yeah,
take
exactly.
A to. Oh,
he
wow.
had to like paint Julia's hair or something to get it
Yeah,
to match
yeah,
once,
yeah.
right?
Well
Yeah.
done,
We give away all the secrets.
Edward and whoever in post. Well done. When I can't, and I'm that's all I do is look at post, and I couldn't see that. So good on you.
Yeah.
Were there any moments that you were aware of? I call them, the dark night of the soul moments where we're not. This is so like this. We bit off more than we can chew. This is not going to get done.
The entire time, like, basically. It's like John said, writing something like this, it's so different from a normal screenplay, and so we kept running into issues. I mean, even while they're on set, while they're screening it, like I see things because you can't use normal screenplay techniques. You can't, if somebody says a line that's supposed to be important, you can't do a slow push on their face. You can't have an insert of a photograph. You can't, there's all these things. Like, for instance, when Julia and Evelyn are in her office and Julia's looking at her photographs of, like, her family, there's photos on the wall that you can't really see of their original anthropology expedition that led them to discover this thing. And we had written that as though that would be something you could see, but that ended up being a small room, and when you put two actors in it and a giant camera, you can't really get those moments,
I found myself like leaning in to see the photograph. And that would be the toughest thing without cutting. We're so accustomed as a film going audience to like, oh, this is a flashback scene that we're about to get, and back when they uncovered the Lost Ark and the thing came out or whatever.
Yeah, and you get there's one moment with sound too because of that's interesting where the whole thing with Randall is that he thinks that she's discovered this incantation that's going to get rid of the demon for good, and that it's this Christian incantation, and they erroneously are like, oh, the blood of Christ is how it ends. And, you know, obviously that didn't work out. And when she finds Randall injured outside, as they're walking in, he's telling her, I was wrong, it wasn't a Christian incantation, it was a satanic one. But he's turned his back and he's moving away from the camera behind a wall as he does it, and you can't really.
And we're so accustomed to in a typical film structure, like going into Act 3, the climax is like, aha, that's the key, the blank, and the camera zooms in on a close-up of the word, and
Or you would, yeah, you would
Paper, yeah.
cut to his face as he's telling her, and we can't do that. So you get these weird little moments. That's definitely a learning experience for
that's,
doing
that's
something.
one of the limitations of doing a uninterrupted camera, but you have to lean into those limitations, which I think is done super, super well. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredibly impressive what Adam pulled off. You know, I saw one review that had mentioned how the camera work was so smooth, and it didn't occur to me that a lot of times, especially in the last few years, when you see something like this attempted, it's usually shaky cam. And so to have that kind of smooth gliding camera work.
Similar to Adolescence and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A much smaller budget.
Much
Yeah,
smaller,
much
but you probably, Adolescence probably spent in the first like 30 minutes of their production what you spent on the whole movie.
Oh, yeah, more than that, yeah.
How much interaction with the cast did you guys have, or if at all?
I had none, but John was Thug 1.
I was thug number one. Yeah.
Oh, you're actually, ladies and gentlemen, fuck number one.
I think that's the only time in my life I've ever been called a thug. I'm proud of it.
Talk about how you had to be bent over that couch for like 6 hours.
Oh, yeah,
Which
Just walking
okay,
back
in
in
terms
and
of the dead
everybody's
bodies,
dead.
which dead body are you?
you can't, exactly, you can't see me. I'm hanging over the couch, but I was like upside down for like an hour, and then of course the one take they had to do the most.
Oh, no.
So by the end of it, I was feeling really sick. And
Oh,
and then
no.
you see it, and I'm like, you can barely see me.
So you were in the back of the
That's
frame.
why I wanted a close up.
Right, can I, like,
Okay, let's do an insert shot.
hello,
Look
I'm
at my
dying
face,
over
okay?
here.
If I'm gonna vomit, I need a close up.
But that's one of the ways you keep your budget low. Like, hey, you get in to wardrobe, right?
Yeah, my rules were, don't look at the camera, hit my mark, and don't embarrass myself. Like, just stay in the background and don't call attention to
And
anything.
sometimes the tiny mistakes that just adds character.
Did I make a mistake?
No, I did have a question because like the second viewing you get to like, you know, look for things.
The camera's moving around too, and I'm like,
One
"Do not look
moment
at it,
where she
whatever you
was
do."
like saying, "Let's get you back to bed," and then she sort of rephrases it
Yeah,
halfway
yeah.
through the phrase. Was that scripted or was that just on like let's
I think
keep
that was-
rolling?
I think that was keep rolling.
Okay. I think she
Yeah.
says, "Let's go to bed," or "Let's get you back to bed," or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. I was like, "Oh, good recovery." I just in my head there are all these comparisons to all these other great horror classics that in the future people will be comparing their new movie to yours the way people are no doubt going to compare this to Obsession, Midsummer, Hereditary, lots of stories in which our main character who you think is the innocent protagonist might not be the innocent character in the film, like, sorry, spoilers for Obsession, maybe? Or Midsummer, maybe? Or, you know, a lot of, were any particular films a big, giant influence as you guys went forward with this?
I mean, Evil Dead a little bit.
Oh, Evil Dead.
Yeah,
see
there's
that.
definitely there's definitely some Evil Dead. What's funny is watching it now. I just watched last week Evil Dead Burn, the new one, and I
Yes.
was like, oh god, there's a lot of like synergy between the
Right, because she, in Evil Dead Burn, she's not the caretaker for it. She's like babysitter, not babysitter. She's the sister of the.
No, that's Evil Dead Rise.
Oh,
The,
that's
the new
Evil
one,
Dead
Evil
Rise
Dead
is
Burn.
Burn is the
Yeah,
newest
but it's
one.
all
Yeah.
like a family in a farmhouse, and
Okay.
yeah.
And the camera work is some original Raimi-ish. You know, granted, he's not doing wonders in the original, but there are a lot of fun camera.
Yeah.
You know.
And probably the other thing would be like William Peter Blatty's Exorcist movies, the first Exorcist and Exorcist 3.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of stuff that ended up getting cut from the script, but Blatty I've always loved Blatty's writing because he always makes his characters human, first and foremost. And so just getting to have those little moments, you know, like as a writer, just like my favorite moment in the movie is when Randall comes up to Evelyn while she's in bed and they haven't seen each other in years. And it's real short, it's probably half a minute, you know, of just them catching up. But it's like, you know, human.
And it's the real Evelyn.
real. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like she's not in her dementia state, and she's not
Yes.
under the control of the demon, and
Yes.
all this.
That's great. I wonder if there's anyone up there who might, is there any questions that I might, oh, I think I see already, something like, let me just go and be,
Yeah,
I'll be
they can
over.
yell it out.
Or Oprah can probably only go so far, unless you want to just project. Sure, if you want, yeah. Because we're recording, so you're on the record.
Where was it filmed at with the lake house?
It was filmed in, just outside Lachute, Canada, in a town called Gore, believe it or not.
Gore, G-O-R-E.
Yeah, no joke.
Appropriate.
Right.
It was between, I think, I don't want to insult my Canadian friends, I think it was between Montreal and Ottawa, I believe. So it was in between those two
So in
cities.
between Quebec and,
Montreal and Ottawa.
between
yeah.
Montreal and Ottawa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lachute was the biggest town around there. So.
Okay, that's great. And I'm assuming big budget savings by that decision alone, I'm sure.
Well, the whole crew and everything was Canadian.
Oh, it was a Canadian crew?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I saw another hand.
How do you two write together? Do you trade off drafts, work in the same room, do both?
You know, we usually have a lot of phone calls where one of us is in the car and the other one's had too much coffee, and we very excitedly is like, oh, what if this happened? What if she did this? So we'll kind of break story together like that. And then we don't really have a plan, we just dive into the script. Like whichever one of us gets excited enough to start the first scene, usually just goes ahead and starts the script, and then we just kind of follow along with each other. Like if John starts the first 5 pages, I'll come behind him and kind of like polish and edit and add stuff, and then I'll add 5 pages, and then John does that to me, and then we'll get on the phone again and be like, oh, hey, I had this idea that's gonna change everything that we thought we were doing, and we're gonna have to start over from the beginning, what do you think? Which is actually what happened to this. We were only a few months out from shooting, and we had a completely different story where a character, it wasn't Julia, it was a different young woman, kept referencing her like aunt or something, her elderly aunt that was passing away, and then like I called John and I was like, I think that aunt's our story. And we were like, God damn it. So we had to throw the whole
Toss
thing.
it all out.
Yeah.
But I have to vouch, I just realized we're both in a club of people who've had the privilege of co-writing a script with Brad.
Oh.
And I can say as a writer, one of the easiest and most pleasant experiences, well, my writing process with Brad is completely different, because we'll meet in a coffee shop, and for the first like 4 hours, hey, you heard they can cast X-Men? So, I'm like, oh, right, let's get back to the story.
Yeah, we have to go through everything Marvel and how much we hate billionaires.
Yes!
And then we can get into.
Because it's what gets you, whatever gets you into your state, whatever that is. So there's no one correct way to get into your writing process. It just depends on who's
Yeah,
reading it.
I mean, sometimes it's like one of us texting the other one a tasteless joke. And then we'll be like, oh God, that's awful. Oh, what if we could do that? Wait a minute, what if we could do that?
What if we could do that? I remember Vince Gilligan famously talking to his buddy in a similar scenario while they were still looking for work and they hadn't worked in a while. And Vince famously said, why don't we just cook meth in an RV? And they were joking about it, and they're just sitting there, huh. 7 months later, cut to the Breaking Bad intro. But that's great. In terms of distribution, this isn't wide yet. This is like next week, I think. Does it go, or is it this week?
No, it was today, I think.
Literally today, this
Yeah,
movie's out.
for North America.
For North America. So I can call my family in New York and say, go see Barry.
Yeah.
And everybody will call their families and go see no. Any other questions I missed? I think I might have seen, yes.
How long did it take to edit the whole movie?
How long did it take to edit?
You might be more familiar.
I'm not sure.
Wait, I'll get the editor on the phone right now.
It was, well, actually, you know what? He was editing while we were shooting, because the takes, he was just cutting things together in a rough way. So pretty quickly, he cut it like a rough version together, but then he started tinkering with it, and I think a few more months, and he was able to start, he had to use VFX to blend things, different takes together. So rough cut was pretty fast because it's just long takes and you just cut them together. But when it came to everything else, it took like months. Yeah.
Sound was probably the sound was probably what took the longest, because we had done a small screening for this at Sony last July, and then the movie had its first public screening at the Glasgow Film Festival, Pride Fest there in March. And the sound design from July to March was radically different. So, and a lot more in depth. That's what you saw here. All the like creaks and the weather and, you know, the house settling and all that atmospheric. So, you know, I can't say for sure, but I'm gonna say that was probably the time consuming. This took months to do.
Yeah, the easy part was like, okay, let's mask all the seams of the edit, and now let's get this thing into sound as much as possible and help create, because you've heard the common wisdom is, we'll forgive a few visual errors, but bad sound, you never forgive.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because.
Well, and it makes such a difference. So you saw that screening at Sony.
The one at Sony, yes, I was.
Yeah, so the opening where she's walking around, the sound wasn't filled out. And we were all like, you know, me, John and Adam, I'll talk about it afterwards, we're like, God, that feels so boring, this opening sequence. But because of the one-shot thing, you can't cut to anything, you can't trim it, so you're kind of stuck. And then when we saw it again in Glasgow, I was like, oh my God, this moves so much better. And I asked him, I was like, did you use another take? And he's like, no, it's just all the sound. Like once you fill in that sound, the house becomes menacing in and of itself. Yeah.
Especially in a genre like horror.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just a family drama in which we're all arguing at the dinner table, you can get away with just, you know, the sound of forks and knives. But, you know, in something like this, it's not haunted house. This would be more demonic possession than haunted house, correct?
But it feels, we actually just had this conversation with Adam the other day. The color palette and the sound design, even though it's a possession movie, he approached it as a haunted house.
So he shot it like a haunted house, even though it's actually demonic possession.
Right, so that the place feels
There is a moment at the beginning where I noticed now on second viewing, he just lets you take in that living room, you know.
Yeah, and
symbols.
it feels like you're gonna see something, or that something's
Yes.
watching you.
Once you've seen Hereditary, I'm just looking in every corner. But restraint, that was great use of restraint, because we're expecting there are a couple of, you know, open doors that I was expecting somebody to jump out and he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Which is actually pleasant.
But it also like builds that tension from your expectation.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
So.
Because we are Pavlov dogs now, trained to expect the moment you close the refrigerator, there'll be somebody right behind the refrigerator door with a knife. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I miss? Yes.
Okay, two questions.
Two questions.
One, okay, was there any, I noticed a lot of symbolism, with like the demonic part. Is that based on any like true, like historical, like where was like, you know, like cultural, like where did you guys pull that symbolism?
So the symbolism in the on-screen symbols that we see painted, or were those
Yeah, so that's actually, that's Enochian.
Enochian? Could you
Yeah.
explain to our,
So,
or really to me?
Okay, so here's a little nerdy occult historical trivia for you. So Queen Elizabeth I of England, her court advisor was a man named John Dee. John Dee claimed that he could speak to angels. He would hold these kind of seances for angels, and they dictated their language to him, and that became known as Enochian.
Oh, wow.
And so a lot of occult works from the 16th century, from that time period, are, you know, rife with Enochian.
So this is just John Dee running a little Rasputin.
Yes. Or he was a lunatic.
Or he was talking angels.
Or it was true.
We were just,
But yeah, so our original concept that we were talking about dealt more with like angelic powers and demonic powers and blah, blah, blah. And so we had a lot of like Enochian occult ritualistic stuff in that. And the one thing that stayed moving into this were those sigils.
Oh,
So.
awesome. And then the other thing, I know this sounds really random, but what was she eating in the trash can?
So that was something I think I noticed didn't get filmed or something. We had in the script when Julia comes down, she's talking to her dad, and she opens the fridge and she's like, there's like, it was like rotten meat or something. She starts pulling out spoiled food
Just couldn't like show close
and
up there.
throwing it. Yeah.
well,
and
she
it was
does
kind
take
of-
out a plate and empty the plate in the trash.
Okay, so she does.
Yes.
So that's what it is.
Oh, it's the plate that she says ew
Yeah.
and puts in the trash. She's eating that.
She's
rotten
eating
meat.
the rotten food.
It kind of looked like
Yeah.
beef patties or something, like hamburger.
Yeah.
What do you guys think that was in the plate?
I thought it was cookies.
Oh, cookies. Bad cookies.
I kind of like that. She's like, why would you throw these cookies
That's
away?
exactly what I thought.
So that's one of those things when you can't cut away or you can't cut.
Yeah,
to
you
insert.
can't have a close-up, because in any other film, you would have the close-up insert of the plate.
I take
in
my
the
camera in the
trash.
back of the fridge and look at her,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, from
Yeah.
right over the meat and like have flies buzzing over it, or you know.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the idea, is that she's eating rotten food out of the trash.
Ah, I see. Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Good. That's a good question. Did I missed another hand? Oh, a few hands. Sorry from the front.
Significance of all the owls.
The significance of the
Owls.
The owls, well, they symbolize, actually, you know what, they were actually originally just in the house. But no joke, like.
We keep joking about this, that we should be like, well, you know, in Greek mythology, the owl is the messenger between life and death.
True,
And-
but, no,
but it's just
some of the
like-
stuff in the house was just like the owls were all there, so they're like, all right, let's just keep them up.
just go with
Yeah.
the owls, baby.
So yeah, some of that, and some of the pictures and paintings were just, not the really creepy ones, but some of the other paintings and pictures were just already there, so. Like in the hearts, if you notice the hearts, in a bunch of places
Oh,
too.
okay, that came with the house.
Yeah.
But the hero painting, the black and white, that
No.
was custom.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
okay.
wasn't, yeah, that wasn't
I
there.
was gonna say, wow, there are creepy then.
Yeah.
That came with the house. Didn't even get out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I'm not sure if it's just me, but did some of those paintings have like faces in them when you turn, or was that just me? Like demonic faces?
There were sigils painted on them, is that what you mean?
like the actual, you're not talking about
Oh,
the symbols.
you know, there were,
Like the ones in the office?
I don't know about the ones in the office, but I know the ones in the basement did have figures in them.
Okay. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Oh, really?
In the office, yeah. I don't know if it was just lighting or what, but it definitely looked like when you had the camera on the Julia and Ellie, that like there were faces in those framed photographs in the background. It seemed like.
Oh, that's cool.
And it looked like the faces were like sort of looking
I
at
don't
you
know
as
if
you,
it moved or
kind
not,
of,
but yeah, it did look like there were figures in those photographs.
but not in the sense of like somebody standing behind with their eye
No,
cutting out an
no,
eyeball.
it was
going
like
like
one of
that.
those pictures that have multiple, like, you look at it differently.
Like they
It could've been-
switch
it
as you
could've
move
been
left to
owls.
right.
Yeah.
It was the owls.
You know, we'll have to ask Adam about that. I don't know that was intentional, but that's really cool though. I love that.
Well, I think there is something in terms of our own hallucination when you get into the low light, in the toe of the image where you're trying to see through the dark. Obsession has a great shot that plays with this as well, where one of the characters is in such a dark, shadowy, and everybody in the theater is leaning in. What is her face? What's going on with your face? And I think your brain starts taking over because you're expecting some weird stuff to go down. And I think,
Well, there's this phenomenon in the brain called pareidolia, where we are, we evolved on the planes to recognize human faces. And so we find them, our brain will see faces in patterns that aren't there.
Even in toast,
Yeah, like, oh, the Virgin Mary is on the sourdough.
clouds.
You know?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Mhm.
Anything where you have two vaguely circular things next to each other, we say those are eyes.
Yeah,
The Amityville Horror.
the Amityville Horror House, that's a perfect one. That looks like eyes staring at you. Your brain does that immediately.
It totally does. Anybody's ever put 2 pineapples on a pancake? You know what I'm talking about.
Any plans to write the prequel?
Actually, the prequel starts, can we announce that? No.
I was about to say, you heard it here first. No, you didn't. You didn't hear it here.
Well, it has been announced, this is gonna be part of a trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a much bigger story, and as we, again, just the difference between writing a movie to be shot as one shot and a traditional film, we opted to keep this as simple as possible. So there's a lot of additional history and mythology and whatnot that will be explored in the next 2
So
weeks.
you've teed yourself up, basically, so now we can really go and do what we wanted to do first.
Yeah, yeah,
So you basically, now you can do the Pearl to your ex,
exactly.
or the Terminator 2, whatever.
Yeah.
Take your pick. The number 2 always gets a bigger budget, right?
Yeah,
Well, knock on wood. Right?
I'm glad I looked at you too, because I almost had a Mark Ruffalo moment.
That's why everybody has to go tell your friends.
There's a Tom Holland. Who's the worst leaker?
Tom Holland.
Tom
probably.
Holland,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Well, we can say that the prequel is being developed and hoping to shoot sometime soon. Well, I don't know when, but and then the sequel we're working on right now.
So both prequel and sequel.
Yeah, not together, but they're
Okay.
yeah, but that's the plan. So there'll be a prequel and then the sequel.
Oh, that's great. And is this something you're gonna have to shop or is
Same
No, it's gonna be the same team.
same team. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
They're not going to be single shot films, but he does have plans for the editing style and for the prequel, and some ideas for the sequel too. So,
So not necessarily a one or
no,
like this.
he said Adam said, I can say this, that he would never want to do it again, but he does want to do something interesting with the prequel.
Mm,
That's also different.
a different style, but
Yeah.
something unique, but not a
Right,
carbon
exactly.
copy of.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And you know, he's,
because yeah, it was like Brad was saying, it's so hard to write, but we had to simplify the story because it's a oneer, and it was just like it was.
Personally,
You
I
have to
just
strip
say
a lot away.
every
It's hard
time
to know
that-
insert shots, no close-ups, things like that.
Absolutely, and every time the cassette played, I want to see kind of that movie that
Right.
cassette comes from.
mhm.
You
And
know,
we prefer to show things, but we can't show everything, so we have to kind of put some in dialogue, and we had to try to balance that out, like exposition versus
yeah.
visual, where we can find visuals, you know.
Okay, that makes me happy. I get my cassette movie.
That's what we should call it.
The cassette movie, The Lost Tapes. It was so I think, oh, in the darkness, I see a hand.
Hey, this might have been over my head, but was Ellie involved in the death of her daughter? Because on the tapes it sounded like, she was hurting her in some way. I was just wondering if you could kind of clear that up.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah,
I was gonna
so,
take a poll. What do you think?
Without giving too much away from, what will happen in the prequel, our original story that again, we kind of had to pare down, so you just got a little bit of it in this, is that Evelyn and Randall were inadvertently responsible for their daughter's possession. And I think Randall flat out says it in this one. They were arrogant and they thought that they knew enough to save their daughter, and they actually made it worse. And so Evelyn, when we come in here to bury the devil, she's been living for decades with that guilt. And so the idea is when Randall is like, hey, you found this thing, why didn't you wait on me? Why did you dig up the statuette? She's been wanting for decades to kill this thing that took her daughter away from her. And again, their arrogance gets in the way, and
And we learn at the very end, the only way you can kill it, it has to have a host. it has to be in a human host
Yeah,
for it to be killed, which means an innocent person is going to have to be murdered to
Yeah.
kill. Which is, I think, where we all
Poor
walk
Julia.
away feeling, oh, that kind of sucks.
yeah. And that was one of the things, like talking about that little audio moment with Randall that kind of gets buried, is it's the blood of Aleem, the blood of the demon is what's needed for the ritual. It was Evelyn's ritual to transfer the demon to Julia. So when Julia stabs the arm that comes out, she's completed the ritual by getting the thing's blood on
I see.
it, is the idea.
Okay.
It
it-
plays so fast, I'm not sure how much of that.
You can't explain it.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what you were mentioning earlier. because
Although that would be
it's-
great if like that scene just stopped and Julia turned toward the camera and was like, "Oh my God, do you know what's happening?"
Or somebody opens a book and reads like 5
Yeah, yeah.
chapters of the rules of this
Yeah.
magic world, you know?
Yeah.
I think there's a moment in Cabin in the Woods where there's a similar thing at the very setup in the beginning where they're each reading or something, you know. But I think we're also well versed in creepy thing that
Yeah.
we fill in the blanks. But I did miss a little bit of the first time I saw it. I missed that. Oh, we got the word wrong because it wasn't a ritual from that religion. It was the ritual from that religion. And now that I got the word right, we can do it right. You know. That's-
Yeah.
Right.
Right of me, because I'm simple. I see.
First of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Two questions here. First one is, how long ago did you guys start conception for the trilogy? And second question is Thug number 2 gonna show up in the prequel?
That's like number
He's
one.
the first thug.
Yeah, number one thug.
Put some respect on that. God, when did we start this? This was 2024? It moved pretty quickly. Basically, Adam had, Adam's fantastic. This was his second feature, and he does a lot of commercial work also, and he's done some TV work, and he has kind of the same crew he works with, and so they're just this like well-oiled machine, and same producers and investors, and he basically just put everything together and was like, the only thing I don't have is a story, and that's where we came in. So we were like, okay, one shot, this is the budget, let's roll.
That's like, for a writer, that's a perfect,
Oh, yeah, completely. Yeah,
but just literally, you don't have to worry about anything else other than delivering, like, fit this peg in the hole that's already paid for and ready to shoot.
yeah, so it all moved really quickly as far as, movies go, because they can take a
Yes.
ridiculously long time to be a slog otherwise.
I can write a book on that still. That's great. Was that another question?
And by the way, just want to point out that I was jokingly saying to Adam, I'd love to play a dead body. I didn't realize I was going to be alive for a couple of scenes beforehand, so I was really nervous, but I think I nailed it.
Oh, you know. At first, when you said you were one of those, I was like, was that your foot?
I don't know why this never occurred to me, but watching it this time when they came through, I was like, why'd she tear his foot off?
Yeah,
Like of all the things, like the throat rip, I get, but like that's just mean.
that's just insult to injury.
I find myself getting distracted by how handsome Thug 1 was.
I think that check is in the mail. Any other, did I see that? Oh, wait, right here.
So the way it was filmed, the house seemed to absorb light. Like when you turned on lights, nothing lit up.
I think it's that wood paneling.
Was that a script thing, or was that just like part of the
Yeah.
production?
They did an incredible job. They took like I don't know, it was a week or something just to light the house, and they actually built like false walls and things with lights built into them, and there's lighting on like in the rafters, but they built lights into the house basically everywhere, so that they didn't have to reset the lights to shoot everything. Because obviously, if we're walking through the house, they would take too much time to just move everything around. So the lights were basically built into the house and ready to go for the shoot. So
And
however they did that was amazing. I wasn't there for that part of it.
And I can speak from having to self-DP on a lot of my own short films. One of the deep cinematography cheat codes keep the light level down interior and fill the place with as many lamps as you can get your hands on. Because practicals can help give you pools of light that you don't have to work so hard to step into your key, you know. And then if you have darker walls, wood, it helps all that extra light spill that you don't want, that makes things look flat and like student filmy. If you've ever shot anything in an apartment that's just white walls, you know what I'm talking about, right? That looks amateur. So wooden, like that rich wood paneling actually helps.
The
movie
house,
look
the
like a
house
movie.
was like pretty amazing, like location to shoot. Like it was
Oh,
just
that
so
looks like a
like
dream to
different.
shoot in.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we should do a romantic comedy then.
Yeah, with ghosts.
Well, it'll be a romantic comedy, but it's the people who bought the land after.
Like years later, they
Yeah.
like, oh, honey, what a great place to raise
Yeah.
our kids.
I heard this house burned down.
Yeah, the kid goes in the basement. It writes itself, yo.
Yeah.
I think I saw one other hand. Or is that was just the darkness playing tricks on me. That's where we go. If that wraps it up for
Pareidolia.
questions, there you go, pareidolia. I'm gonna use that in my next dinner party. Did you guys know about pareidolia? Oh, no, it's,
So, in making like a continuous shot movie, how do you like kind of put in suspense or like jump scares as opposed to like a normal movie that's more than one shot?
That was one of the difficulties we had in the script that we had to try to figure out. Like John was saying, we had pictures of the house, we had an idea of the geography, and then it was, we would write scenes and then be like, there's too much up and down the stairs. And so we'd have to go in and change that, and then we'd be like, okay, well, now we're just walking. How do we make that scary, you know? And so the little moments where we could find where you see Evelyn at the end of a door, you know, in a doorway, or,
did you have like a lot of moments where Evelyn just has to teleport and relocate from here to here so that the camera can get her? Like when she's outside, I'm like, wow, she ran pretty quickly from the last. She had to run around the house silently.
yeah.
I'm assuming there was a lot of that. Where,
That's why I love when Julia sort of like, don't move.
don't
you know?
move, stop running.
Like, stop. Every time I turn around, you're gone. You know.
And again, another nod to Hitchcock's Rope, because that's one of the things they pioneered, doing it really well. That, you know, camera blocking, actor perfect synergy, and very minimal on the scary stuff that would need effects, because it's just a dead body. And
mood or tone.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
mood, and I think you guys nailed that part, and that we can clearly tell was in the script. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, when you're diving into any kind of horror project, you know, it's the tone and the atmosphere is so important. You know, is it heightened ultra-violent? Is it moody, creepy, you know, spooky? Is it kind of funny and tongue-in-cheek? You have to establish that from the get-go in the screenplay. And then,
Adam did a great job with that.
that's what I was about to say. And Adam is he's such a stylist and knows exactly how to create that mood. I mean, again, going back to like the sound, you know, everything that happened with the sound design, you add that to how the house absorbs light, and the haunted house kind of color palette he did, and the smooth camera movement, like you were saying, like looking up at the ceiling, like all of that works together to make that atmosphere.
And to fool us, I mean, seeing it again, just the introduction to Evelyn, that she just sitting there, is she brushing her hair in front of the mirror? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Your brain immediately says, oh, I hope she's safe, I hope she makes it. You know, like whatever bad happens in this movie, I want her to be okay. Weaponizing that against us.
Yeah, you know, and that's kind of interesting too, because that room is the most well-lit room. I didn't notice that until watching it tonight, but when we go into that room, the walls are white, the furniture's white, you have the white bedclothes, there's 2 white lamps, you know, so it's this kind of...
Psychologically, you're telling us this is a good, pure woman who deserves to make it out of this movie okay.
Yeah, and again, that's the kind of stuff that Adam is fantastic at. He just has such an eye for those kinds of things, and knows how to create them and how to do it quickly.
Yes. And to the point about, how do you create those moments of tension, or it's frightening. I don't think you guys were going for real jump scares.
No,
You
no,
can't really,
no.
it's hard to do that without.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like this is the kind of thing that I don't think would serve it as well as the building dread.
Yeah, we were more going for just like leaving the movie feeling unsettled,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as opposed to jump scare. I have nothing wrong with jump scares. One of my favorite moments in any horror movie is the jump scare out of Exorcist 3. I think that's brilliant, and I've seen that movie 20 times, and it still makes me like fly 30 feet in the air every time I watch it. So I've got nothing against jump scares.
But I think now that we, as a society, we've grown up on so much jump scare heavy fare.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing the resurgence of the slow burny Get Out comes out, and we're frightened to death by a stirring teacup now. You know?
Yeah, like have you seen the trailer for the new Resident Evil?
No.
Well, the creepiest shot in it is just Austin Abrams on the second floor of a farmhouse, and he looks out the window, and it's night, and there's snow all over the ground, and there's just this one lone figure just sprinting across the snow toward the house.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, what is that?
Again, very much in Get Out, when the gardener's just running straight at him.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm trying to back up in my seat until he makes that hard right turn, well done. I mean, I can't wait for the prequel now. It's gonna be like, hurry up, shoot this thing. Did I see one more hand?
I can't say, I think they're gonna have a little more time to shoot the prequel.
Okay, so we can
Yeah.
we can get into this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, when the mics are up, you're gonna have to tell me.
They'll have 7 days.
We're splurging. And 3 days of rehearsal.
Yeah.
Last call for questions. I'm assuming this is the last call for questions, right? Because people are like, listen, I am hungry. So, anyone? Last call. Martini, extra olives. Anyone? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that might wrap up our Q&A, and I'd like to thank again John and Brad for being available to us. And for giving my weekend the perfect start. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. I don't know if that was